So today I'm gonna replace the axle on the driver's side of this 1996 Mazda Protege because it's making the clicking noise when I turn for the turns. So I'm gonna replace the axle right now. It'd be really helpful if you had an impact wrench like this one here. Be very helpful if you have one, because you could take it off without a fight. But if you don't have one of these, then you can use a breaker bar, or you can use a really high quality ratchet. It has to be high quality because it'll break if they're not. And then you could put the high quality ratchet on here and then get a leverage bar like this and then put it into the ratchet, into the handle of the ratchet, and just do it. Take it off using the leverage bar. It works for me most of the time. So, oh, and another thing too, when you're taking off that nut with the leverage bar, it's easiest to do it when you put on a tire that has the hole in the middle, like where you could access it. If you have a tire like that with the center cap on, you have to take off the wheel and take off the center cap, if it can come off without a fight, that is. Then you put it on without the cap, and then you can access it. And it's easiest to have the car lowered to the ground and then putting on the parking brake and maybe a couple of wheel chucks or whatever they call them, to keep the car from moving when you're trying to take off the nut using the leverage bar. And that's the easiest way to have good leverage. And so that's what I'm doing now. Okay, now I got the nut off. And so what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to remove the 2 bolts off of this strut here. I'm going to need a wrench. And then if you have a situation where the bolt turns and then the other side starts turning, then you're going to need a second wrench to help with that. Like, have the second wrench hold on to the bolt while you use the first one to take off the nut. So I'm going to do that now. Oh, by the way, this is the way the old axle looks. It's messed up. See, all the grease came out and it ruined it. Again, if you don't want to fight it, then you can use a leverage bar if it fits in there, that is. Or you could just use a ratchet. It's probably better a ratchet. If you don't want to fight it, just use this leverage bar. As you see it, I'm having that situation. When I turn it, there's other bolt turns. So to remedy that, I just get another wrench to hold it, to keep it from turning, you know. And then I'll be able to take it off. Okay, so now I removed the 2 bolts from the strut. And now I can move this out of the way. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the axle without removing everything else, because it really is not necessary to remove these or the ball joint or anything. It's not necessary to remove all this stuff like the manual says to do so. Then over here I may need to use a hammer or something to take this off, to break the seal with. Well, using the hammer, and then I may want to use like something like this to hammer the rest of it out, so that way it could get out. I'm going to do that now. Okay, man, I got the axle out now. I just pull this assembly far enough, but be careful with this though. Far enough to where I could get the axle out of there, and then right there I could just pull it out. see this area right here, that's where I removed the bolts. And then the axle. See, there's just 3 bolts on the engine of the car. I removed those. That's all I needed to remove, and the whole axle was able to come off. The center one and everything on the passenger side. Well, once this axle is out, once you've pulled out the center axle, after removing these 3 bolts, from here you can use a sledgehammer or other kind of hammer and just hammer this out, hammer that axle out. I had already did it, and I put in the new axle already on the passenger side of the car. I had did it already, but I'm just saying how I did it. And this is the easier way to do it. If we don't want to fight getting this one off, if it gives us trouble, if it gives you a hard time coming off, this is the other way. This is the way to do it. Like where it's easy, although you have to work a little, but it's worth it when you can get the job done without fighting. So I'm gonna put it back on now. Okay, I put in the center shaft, the bolts, and then now the axle goes on. So I'm ready to put this on the other side. And just like the first side, the other side anyway, I don't have to actually remove this, everything. I don't need to remove anything here. But although it may be kind of tough to put on the axle since I didn't remove all the tie rods and everything, but it still should be easy to put on though. Like I say, it's not hard to get the axle in there. But if you want more clearance, you could turn the strut like so. These lines can allow more clearance. And then right now, see, I got it in there now. I just gotta see. I just gotta put these 2 bolts on, and I'm done. Okay, got the bolts in. Now, and then I could put the new nut. It's ready to go. Just gotta impact wrench it, and that's it. And I'm done with both sides of the car. So I'm done with the job completely now. So to return it to AutoZone for the core refund. This axle is $60, by the way, and that's with the core. The other side was $48 with the core at AutoZone anyway.